Hey y'all, Angie B with today's vlog, and I'm joined by my pal Mort, the zombie here. And today's vlog topic is Angie B's top 5 zombie films. And I have to say I'm really glad I finally get to do this vlog topic because it's been in the running for like the past 8 or 9 vlogs. And as Zombie Boogie Meg said, it's the Susan Lucci of my poll topics, so I'm really glad to finally get to do it. Okay, top 5 films. This was really hard and it took a lot of deliberation, but I think I've narrowed it down. So here goes. Number 5 on Angie B's top 5 zombie films is Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, also known as Braindead to the original British and Kiwi audiences. Now, Dead Alive, if you don't know, still holds the record for most gore and blood pumped into a scene at, one time. They had huge pressure cannons that were blasting fake blood and gore into the final climactic 30-minute scene. It's pretty awesome. This is the definition of splatstick. If you don't know what splatstick is, it's basically a horror comedy with tons and tons of gore in it. And that's what's really memorable about this movie, is the gore, the incredible amounts of gore and the inventive ways that they used it. The last 30 minutes alone are nothing but blood and bones and wiggly things, and it involves a lawnmower, a blender, and a lot of knives, and killer intestines. So, if you're ever interested in checking out a movie that's just so over the top and ridiculous, and has got tons and tons of comedy in with the horror, check out Dead Alive. This is where Peter Jackson got his start, man, doing films like Bad Taste and Dead Alive. And he went on to do frickin' Lord of the Rings. That's how awesome this guy is. He got to start with zombie films, moved on to Middle-earth. That's why it's number 5 on my list. Number 4 on my list, Shaun of the Dead, a wonderful British rom-com or romantic comedy with zombies, co-written by Simon Pegg himself, who played Shaun, and director Edgar Wright. I already did a bonus vlog on why I love Shaun of the Dead so much, so I'm not going to say very much more about it, but I will say this. If you've seen Shaun of the Dead, watch it with the Zombometer on, okay? It's awesome little subtitle/commentary that gives you insight into the making of the film and background on the actors themselves, and it points out all of the amazing references because this movie is a great homage to horror films. They reference George Romero, they reference Evil Dead, they reference Landis, and tons and tons of movies. So definitely check it out with the Zombometer on. Shaun of the Dead's number 4 on my list. Number 3 on my list, Fido. Very little known and really underrated Canadian film. It came out a couple of years ago, and it stars Billy Connolly, a.k.a. Il Duce from Boondock Saints, a.k.a. Billy Bones from Muppet Treasure Island. This movie is amazing. It's great commentary on 1950s suburbia. It's great social commentary on othering, dehumanization, slavery, the retail and service industries. Plus, it's Technicolor, man. Technicolor in every sense of the word. This film is beautiful. The colors just pop off the screen. There's tons and tons of comedy mixed in with the horror, which is why I love it so much, because I love comedy in my horror. Also, Billy Connolly as Fido, the boy's best friend, is just inspired. He does such a great job with this character, and this movie is just fantastic. If you like movies that are funny and really pretty to look at, check out Fido, which is number 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list, 28 Days Later. Now, I know this is definitely going to be a bone of contention among the die-hard zombie fans who like to argue that the infected in 28 Days Later aren't really zombies. Yes, it is a valid argument, because the infected in 28 Days Later aren't technically dead. They're just very, very sick with the rage virus. But I think what makes 28 Days Later an actual zombie movie, in my mind, is because the infected, okay, are extremely contagious. One bite, one drop of their blood in your system, and you become one of them. 2, they used to be normal people, but because of this disease, now they're raving cannibals who just want to tear you to pieces and eat you. That's pretty standard for zombies in my book. And 3, there's no way back. Once you become infected, you are always infected, at least until you're killed. So, in my mind, the infected in 28 Days Later are zombies. Now, I love 28 Days Later because it really brought new life to the zombie genre. Before this movie, zombies had kind of just fallen to the wayside and were a little bit seen as like the redheaded stepchildren of horror films. They were more goofy than scary, and I loved that 28 Days Later made them relevant and made them scary again. I'm not so sure how I like the fast zombies. I definitely prefer slow zombies to fast, but I will concede that it makes them 25 times scarier when they can run at you full tilt. The infected in this movie are terrifying. I also love this movie because it's just beautifully done. They shot the entire thing on handheld digital camera. The colors are just amazing. The acting is fantastic. Wonderful turn by Cillian Murphy as the lead hero Jim. Naomi Harris in her first big screen role as the cold-hearted and ruthless Celine. You got Brendan Gleeson as the very lovable and adorable Frank. Christopher Eccleston, okay? Christopher Eccleston himself plays a military major in this movie, and he does a fantastic job. The music is fantastic. I think it's beautiful, and it really heightens the mood. This movie will have you on the edge of your seat. If you like a scary film that's also beautiful and really tastefully done, check out 28 Days Later. It also has some great commentary on the importance of holding on to the bonds of civilization and onto positive relationships, which is another reason why I love it so much. So, 20 Days Later, number 2 on my list. Number 1 on my list, and this took a lot of deliberation, George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. I had to have a Romero movie on this list, and I knew it had to be number 1. And even though I really love Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead gets the number 1 spot. It's got some of Romero's most biting commentary. It's got some wonderful acting. There's tons of really inspired comedy and special effects in it. Tom Savini himself gets a cameo as the biker Blades, and I love Tom Savini, so I've got to love his turn in this. It also has one of the best bromances I've ever seen in film, between Peter and Roger. Now, I love Peter and Roger. I made an entire pic spam devoted to the friendship of Peter and Roger. So, Peter and Roger, awesome reason to see this movie. It's also just a fantastic film. It's Romero's first movie to be shot in color. It was made in 1978, 10 years after Night of the Living Dead, but the events in the movie take place just hours after Night of the Living Dead. And it just feels seamless. It's a perfect continuation from Night of the Living Dead. And it's just got some great commentary on consumerism and on othering and just how it really showcases that the zombies aren't that much different from us. So if you've never seen Dawn of the Dead, check it out. It's kind of a hefty movie, it's slightly long, and it does drag in places, but it's awesome. Stick with it, it really pays off. So those are my top 5, and of course, I have to give special mention to Day of the Dead, okay? This was Romero's next movie. This is definitely runner-up on my list because I love the character of Bub so much. In my opinion, Bub is one of the best characters to ever be on the big screen. I love Bub because it's the first time that we actually empathized with a zombie. For the first time ever, in 1988, a zombie was a heroic character. We really empathize with Bub because he's more human than most of the humans in the film. And I really have to give credit to Howard Sherman for doing an inspired turn as Bub. He really makes him multi-layered and emotional, empathetic, pathetic even, and then at the end of the film, he becomes the real hero of the picture, because he takes a stand against the military. He takes a stand against the man, and it's just really, really rewarding to see a zombie in a more sympathetic position. So, kudos to Bub for making Day of the Dead a runner-up on this list. If you guys have any questions about any zombie films, if you want any recommendations, if you'd like to be pointed in the direction of some more awesome zombie and horror stuff, give me a ring, okay? Just drop a comment. I'm more than willing to be of service. I spent 2 years researching and writing a zombie thesis, and I really feel like I have to share all this knowledge with the world. I know I'm not a master, and I'm not by any means a complete authority on the subject, but I'd really like to think that I could be the one that you turn to if you have any questions about zombie films. Hope you guys have enjoyed this vlog. Hope you've enjoyed hearing my top 5, and I hope you check them out if you have any sort of interest in horror or zombies or any of the actors that are in the films. Check you later, guys.